So I don't want to have to make anybody run the fence, but we do want to get started here. And first off, a big welcome home to all of our ETHS alumni for coming back to Evanston. I know some of you came from across the country, from both coasts, to be here today, and we really appreciate your presence, and we appreciate all the friends and family that are able to be with us as well. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce our brand new superintendent, Dr. Marcus Campbell, who most of you got an opportunity to meet last night on the field. He's been an incredible principal for us for the last decade, and we're really excited to have his leadership as he leads us through with the Wildcat Way. So please welcome Dr. Marcus Campbell.
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon. As Chris mentioned, my name is Marcus Campbell. I have the distinct pleasure of serving as superintendent here at Evanston Township High School. I am new to the role, but not new to ETHS. I have been an English teacher, I've been a coordinator, I've been a director, I've been an associate principal, I was principal, and now I get the pleasure of serving as superintendent. I am just here, just stopped through to say congratulations and welcome home and welcome back. ETHS still maintains a high level of academic rigor, academic excellence. We still have a very high reputation both locally and nationally, setting the trends in education, and still are very competitive in our athletic programs. And I know we were all just very pleased with last night's 10-second win, the football game. The Wildcat, that's right. 53-50. We thought it was all over, and then there was 10 seconds left. The Wildcat spirit is just as strong, and we're just as proud of all of you as we congratulate you during this time. You all are Wildcats. You are our legacy. You are our tradition. You are our pride, and we just want to say congratulations to you. I have a couple of things I need to share. Just in a couple of years, in 2024, we will be celebrating the centennial here at 1600 Dodge. This campus opened in 1924, and just 2 years after that, in 1926, Beardsley Gym opened. We'll be celebrating the centennial in that year, and just a couple of years down the road from that, in 2033, we'll be celebrating 150 years of this district. So we have a great long run of celebration to honor the traditions of this high school, and you are definitely a part of that. Mr. Petransky, who is the director of our Alumni Association, is going to share a little bit more about that. But once again, I just want to say congratulations, welcome back, and go kids!
Thank you, Marcus. Appreciate you swinging by. And as he mentioned, I do have to do a little test here. How many of you stuck around to see the last second touchdown by the Wildcats? Let's go, Wilson family. Let's go. I knew you guys weren't quitting. I knew it. It was really something. We gave up a touchdown with about 48 seconds to go. They took the lead. They missed the extra point. And I turned to my 12-year-old son who's on the sideline. I go, hey, that's a great thing, actually. They missed the extra point. We have 48 seconds. We're going to win this thing. And he looked at me like, Dad, you're crazy. And so sure enough, 3 plays later, we're celebrating in the end zone. We didn't get the extra point, so we went to overtime. And our defense finally stopped them, held them to a field goal. And then our quarterback, actually our running back, Demarion Timberlake, punched it in from the 1-yard line on fourth and goal. To win or lose, it was a pretty good game. So I had to give that full and now if you all had raised your hand, you wouldn't have had to listen to that whole story, but that's your punishment for not sticking around to the end. So every year, we're really lucky to have our Alumni Association come back and say hello and congratulate our inductees. This year, we're extremely lucky to have our director, David Futransky, join us. David played football and golf here and understands the legacy of ETHS athletics and the incredible accomplishment that it is to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So please welcome David Futransky.
Congratulations. Welcome back. I'm David Futransky. I'm a member of the ETHS class of 1969. And I'm proud to say that we have a number of my classmates who are have pictures hanging outside of Beardsley Gym where your pictures will all be hanging. It's an amazing tradition. It's an amazing school. I look around this room and I see old friends. I see family of some of my best friends who are here. I see old colleagues. It's great to see Tim Richardson back for all you swimmers. As a parent of wild kids, one of my daughters swam for Tim, and I know how hard everybody in that program has always worked. So it's great to see that hard work does pay off. As Marcus mentioned, we are about to embark on a series of celebrations. This building where we're standing right now 100 years ago was still farmland. They were just about to break ground here on what was to become the largest single school building under one roof in the United States today. There's over 1,300,000 square feet of space here, and it's unique. Being responsible for taking care of all that space is just an amazing part of what we do here, and as you walk through the halls, the unthought of people are our operations and buildings and ground staff who do an amazing job keeping things up. When you have a 100th anniversary, when you have a centennial, you take that opportunity to celebrate. And we're going to be doing a lot of celebrations in 24, 25, and the years after. So please watch your KIT newsletter. Who doesn't get the KIT among our alumni? Does everybody get the KIT newsletter? If you don't, send an email to alumni@eths202.org, and we'll make sure we get you on the list. There'll be plenty of communication about what we're doing. We're going to celebrate in any way and shape we can find. We're going to celebrate big groups and small groups. We're going to tell stories. The room next door to us is going to become Alumni Hall. We're going to make that a high-tech conference center, multi-purpose room. We're thinking we may even break through this wall so that we can extend the terrace into there. We'll see. We're costing that all out now. It depends on how many millions of dollars we're able to raise. But we're going to tell stories of alumni that have not been told in that room, on those walls. When you walk through the downstairs, you'll see our wall of distinguished alumni. It's just past where you came in. And there are close to 100 people will be up there by the end of this year who have done amazing things after they left ETHS and have come back to inspire people. In the same ways that your pictures outside of Beardsley Gym inspire our athletes today. We will be having a large capital campaign to raise money for all these innovations. We want to make sure that ETHS in the mid-21st century provides the same opportunities and environment that you all had when you were students here. So we appreciate your support. We congratulate you, and I'll turn it back to Chris so the program can move along.
Thank you, David. And I might have a couple other ideas of what we can do with that money, with facilities, but we'll all get a chance to weigh in at some point. So thank you for all of your hard work to make those upcoming events incredible for all of our alumni. It's really great to have all you guys back here at ETHS. We're delighted to have your friends and family join you. You guys have brought so much pride to our school during your time here as athletes and as coaches in some ways. And as you've probably noticed, the place has changed a little bit. A lot of renovations we've been the benefactors of over the years, and most of that's we're thankful to Dr. Campbell, our former superintendent, Dr. Witherspoon, and to the ETHS Foundation and the Alumni Association for making all that possible. But, probably when you were here, we didn't have Friday night football games, right? That's a huge change to ETHS and really supported by our community. And it's a great community builder, and as you can tell last night, we had a packed house. The baseball stadium and softball stadiums are completely renovated. We redid our field house rooftop and floor, added some great facilities to the Lake Street tennis courts, our weight room, which at the end of today's program, if anybody wants a quick tour of the place, the Michael B. Arrington Wellness and Performance Center is second to none in high school sports. And I'd love to show the place off if you guys want to take a little tour. But we're really grateful for the improvements that we've been able to make to our facilities. But facilities are only so great if you have the athletes and coaches to make good use of them. And I'm here to tell you that while we'll never replace some of the iconic coaches of old, we've got some really incredible coaches today that we're really, really fortunate to have. And you guys are actually going to hear from the best coach in the history of ETHS later today as he introduces one of his former athletes, Fenton Gunter. This past year was a really good year for the Wildcats, and I'll just take a couple of moments to highlight some of our accomplishments. Girls soccer, our boys soccer alumni here should appreciate this, made it to the Final Four in state for just the second time in school history. Let's give it up for them. We had 11 teams make it or finish the season in the top 25 rankings for their respective sports, and 4 of them captured conference championships. And in individual sports, we had a couple of state champions. Matt Kless won the state championship in the high jump, and our girls track and field team, which Tranquil Wilson is a coach for, won the state championship in the mile relay, and her daughter actually led off the first leg of that relay as a state champion. And in addition, we had over a dozen state medalists across gymnastics, track and field, and swimming and diving. So we're really trying to keep the legacy and the tradition going that you guys started so many years ago. We're also really proud of the academic achievements of our student athletes. And I brag about this all the time because I think it's really our first and foremost mission. But the student athletes that participate in sports, the average GPA for them is always 3.7 to a 4.0. And the GPA for kids that are not involved in sports is around a 3.0. So our student athletes really set the bar for academic improvement here, so much so that our school board a number of years ago recognized that it's one of the best intervention programs we have for academics, and we've actually lowered the requirements so we can get more kids, especially kids that are struggling in school, to be involved in sports, to do better in school. So I really am proud of the academic achievement of our kids. And that combination of strong athletics and strong academics also leads us year in, year out to send about 50 plus student athletes off to compete in college at such places as Purdue, Northwestern, Duke, North Carolina, Michigan, you name it. And so, a lot of you guys went on to compete at the college level, and that tradition continues as well. But we're not here today to talk about all the great things of now. We're here to celebrate you guys and the legacy that you have left. As you will see in the booklets that you have in front of you, our very own Dennis Mahoney, and I call him our very own because he's a 40-year veteran of sports journalism who retired about 6 years ago, and he made the unfortunate mistake of saying to me, "Chris, if there's anything you ever want, let me know." And the next day I said, "Could you be our volunteer sports information director?" And he said, "Sure, I got nothing else to do." And for the last, 7-8 years, I think now, he's written over 200 stories a year for us. And every year, he's on our Hall of Fame committee. He writes these great stories to capture the highlights of each and every one of you and your legacies here. So please take time to read the stories that he's written about your teams, yourselves, and the others that are being inducted. We have a great group of inductees this year. Unfortunately, it's a very unique situation for us. Most of them are not able to be with us due to COVID and just due to longevity of time since they were here. So the good news about that for you guys is we're going to probably have a little more time to hear from you. And we're going to switch things up when we get to the teams. And we're going to invite you guys to say a few words about your experience and thank the people you want to thank. So if you want to start scribbling down on napkins while you're eating lunch, that is going to be an opportunity for you. We might have a 1-minute yank on that if we need to, but we really want to make this as intimate, as special a day for you guys as possible, so we are going to open that that door up for you. But we're going to focus on who's here today, and that's from our national champion sprinter who returned home to share her wisdom and experience and help build the most dominant dynasty in ETHS sports history, to the two teams that tackled the Trevians en route to historic seasons for the Kits. You guys are all a part of the ETHS athletic legacy from now and until the end of time, so I look forward to hearing your stories after lunch. Now I'd like to introduce Clorinda Harbison from the athletic department, who will say our invocation and explain sort of the marching orders for the buffet line. She has done an incredible job organizing all of the details for today's event. So please welcome and show your appreciation for Clorinda.
Welcome, everybody. I am Clorinda Harbison. I am class of 97, ETHS. I loved it so much that I decided to come back and give my life, literally, to this building. And I met a lot of you all last night, and you're such a wonderful group of people. I'm so happy to have you guys here. But for those of us who have lost people in the past and those who are not able to join us today, we would like to have a moment of silence.
All right. I hope you've all been enjoying the meal. And at this time, I'd love to recognize Nutrition Services, our campus catering folks, for the incredible job they did putting together today's lunch. We can give them a round of applause. And there's some really delicious desserts, so feel free to get up and grab a beverage or dessert as we go. But we are going to get things started, and we will start off by honoring our ETHS Hall of Fame coaches that are inducted in this class. Sadly, both of our coaches this year have passed away, and we're unable to connect with the families. But I still want to say a few words about each of them as we induct them into the Hall of Fame. And I encourage you again to read their stories as they had a tremendous impact at ETHS and with their respective programs. Our first coach that we're going to honor is Chet Renner, who coached tennis from 1947 to 1957. He coached 7 individuals and doubles teams to first or second place at the state tennis meet. He finished in the top 10 at state every single one of the 10 years that he coached, and earned state runner-up or third place at state 6 times in a 7-year span. He created a level of consistent success in tennis that ETHS had never known, and we are honored to induct Coach Renner into the ETHS Athletic Hall of Fame with the class of 2022. Our second inductee as a coach this year is Emile Heine Schultz, who coached not just 1, 2, but 3 sports as a head coach for football, track and field, and cross country. He coached 12 state champions across track and field and cross country during his time. He finished in the top 10 as a team in state for track and field 9 times, including the state runner-up. He won a suburban championship, and I think he's the only coach to ever be able to do this, in all 3 sports that he coached, and he won 9 Suburban League championships during his total tenure. His crowning achievement was winning the state championship in cross country in 1953, and we are honored to induct Coach Heine Schultz into the ETHS Athletic Hall of Fame with the class of 2022. As a little aside note here, because we kind of rush through the coaches faster than we normally do. Normally, we've been joined by a 1953 alum, Dan Peterson, who is kind of our living historian for ETHS athletics. He is an icon in Italy and was the head professional basketball coach there for decades. And is a sports broadcaster there to this day. Again, he graduated in 1953, and every day he sends out blogs with ETHS athletic history and many other things. But he's really collected a lot of the history about some of the legendary coaches and athletes and teams. And so he would come here, back from Italy every year, and he would kind of regale us with his stories of the inductees that had passed. And so I just want to acknowledge him and all he's done for the ETHS Athletic Hall of Fame. Now we're going to move on to our individual athletes. Austin Brown, who was able to join us last night from the class of 2003, was a tremendous basketball player. He discovered that he was with someone who had COVID yesterday, and out of a respect and caution for everybody here, he wanted to make sure that he stayed away from the ceremony today. So I really appreciate him thinking about others like that. Hopefully you got a chance to see him last night at the game. He was a member of our 2003 basketball team that finished 4th place in state. He was a captain at DePauw University and hit the half-court shot to win the conference championship in 2006, which was actually the ESPN Play of the Day that day. But most notably, Austin Brown has been recognized in Forbes magazine and Sports Business Journal as one of the brightest stars in sports as he leads the basketball division for Creative Arts Agency with such NBA clients as Donovan Mitchell, Zion Williamson, and D'Angelo Russell. He is one of the top sports agents in the NBA and throughout all professional sports. And he's still just a young guy. It's just really incredible. So we are honored to induct Austin Brown into the ETHS Athletic Hall of Fame with this class of 2022. All right, I'm excited to introduce the first person who's here. And to introduce Tranquil Wilson, please welcome to the podium, I introed him a little earlier, our very most successful state championship coach in ETHS history, Coach Fenny Gunter.
Good afternoon to everyone. Congratulations to the new Hall of Fame inductees. Welcome home. Tim, outstanding job. Just want to really acknowledge that 75 soccer team. That was the year after I graduated. Outstanding job, fellas. That swim team, hey, we all have the same, hey, we walk in the same path. When girls sports started in the 70s, we both had tremendous pressure on both those programs, girls track and swimming, because we were following outstanding boys swim programs, to say the least, and boys track programs. And I think both girl programs have done an outstanding job over the years holding up those successes of our boys programs. So congratulations, young ladies. Very proud of you. Outstanding job. Tranquil Wilson. First time I met Tranquil, grade, junior high school, 6th grade. Her sister worked for me at Mason Park. She would come over in the summertime. Her sister would come over in the summertime. Tranquil would come with her sister to sit at the park at Nichols. That's where I was the director. And very quiet, outstanding member of the Wilson clan. Outstanding brothers and sisters, great family. Was fortunate enough for the parents to let me come into their household many a time over the years. Tremendous young lady, outstanding adult, great teacher, a well-rounded representative of our school and our community. As an athlete, did a great job over at Schultz Junior High School for Mr. Willis. Came into Evanston Township High School, a little background. As a freshman, as you noted in the program, had an outstanding freshman year. Sophomore year, another outstanding sophomore year as an individual. 3rd place in the 400 meters, ran on a couple of relay teams that had some success. She was working her way up the ladder. Junior year, Another outstanding year, state runner-up spot, state runner-up to the only young lady high schooler in the U.S. that made the Olympic trials in the 400 meters dash. Our girl was second. Going into her senior year, everything looked pretty good. And then we got into December. We were doing some good workouts and running some unattached meets. And she wasn't doing well with workouts. She was doing okay, but she was visiting the garbage can a few too many times after some of the workouts, and they were pretty intense. But anyway, we got invited to a meet in Louisville, Kentucky, the Mason-Dixon Games. We were the only high school unattached program running, and we ran in the college division. Nobody knew we were a high school team. And we had some success there. We won the mile relay. We beat Tennessee State, Eastern Kentucky, Austin Peay, a couple of other squads we beat. And we were runner-ups in the 4x200 meter relay. We ran on a 160 meter board track, which I had no idea we were running on till we got there, and it surprised the heck out of me, because our girls had never ran on a board track before, let alone that small with those tight bank turns. And I was really leery about letting them run, but we ran, did a good job. But she still was sick after the meet. And when we got back home, we said, you got to go get checked out. And then that's when we found out she had the ailment. And her being as stubborn as she was, she didn't want to go through with any of the surgery. She didn't want to leave her teammates, didn't want her hair cut. That's what I really remember. But she went on, and thankfully, the Lord blessed her, and the surgery was successful, but she lost her senior year. But even though she was not able to run, she assisted the team in a far bigger capacity by being the additional motivator for our girls that had returned that year for her senior year. They ran just like she was running, and we really had a successful year based on Tranquil being there, even just being there for us. She was our spiritual leader, and when she was able to travel with the team a little bit, she was just, we would go over, touch her, get that little bit of extra energy, and that team really excelled. They wound up being the state runner-ups that year. We produced Evanston one, two, three. We had 3 Gatorade Circle champions. Our first boys or girls Gatorade Circle champion for any sport in Evanston Township history, since they've been given that. And of course, we have all 3 that I know of. I don't think we've had anybody else, but her dedication, her commitment, her loyalty to her teammates really made one of her teammates just step it up for us and have an outstanding meet for her sister. And that was Janice Foster. Janice Foster, Tranquil Wilson, because she ran like Tranquil Wilson that day. Nebraska still wanted her to come to school. Unlike today where they do the ESPN signing days and all that, we did hers at home. And right before she got ready to sign her letter of intent like we used to do back then, I would always take a kid. I said, "Excuse me, coach, can I take this young lady for a hot second?" We'd go into the kitchen of whoever house I was at, for the ones we did them at home, and say, "You sure you know what you're doing? You sure you want to put your name on that line?" And she said yes, and then the rest was history. Outstanding 4 years at University of Nebraska, graduated, all Big 8, NCAA All-American, national champion. Their mile relay team that won the NCs that year was world ranked. And then she returned home. District 65 welcomed her home. Mr. Michelin over at Haven hooked her up over there. And then we got her over here at Evanston Township High School. So again, it's just been a big village helping our young people to be able to continue to bring back what they have gained, the insight to help our future kids be able to have some of those same opportunities. Finally got her on my coaching staff. like all of our young ladies and men on our coaching staff, all the Evanston graduates. Been a tremendous help with dealing with the younger people, the younger generation now. Coach Finney kind of has learned to back away a little bit and listen to my assistant coaches, which has been a tremendous assist for me. We wouldn't have the successes that we had without coaches like Tranquil Wilson, Michelle Burt, Tamika McFarland, Jesse Seibert, and the late Alex Thomas. We've been very fortunate to have outstanding young people come through District 65 into 202. A lot of people really have prepared our young people for success. And with that, I will give you Ms. Tranquil Wilson.
Thank you. Thank you, Fanny, for that introduction. You basically told everything that's in my speech. Thank you. But I'm going to say it anyway. To the Superintendent, Marcus Campbell, and Assistant Superintendent, Ty Kenzie, in their absence. To Chris Levantino, other distinguished guests, family and friends, good afternoon. Today I'm honored to stand before you to accept my induction into ETHS Hall of Fame. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine this happening. However, I'm truly grateful. What started as a simple sport of running in Chute Middle School under the guidance of Mr. Willis has turned into a career few get a chance to enjoy. Coach Fanny Gunter, got the maximum out of me from 1986 to 1988. I ran the 200 meters, the 400 meters, 800 medley relay, 4x1 meter relay, 4x2 meter relay, and the 4x4 meter relay. After graduating ETHS, I accepted a full scholarship to the University of Nebraska, which produced the highlight of my career, becoming an NCAA champion in the 4x4 meter relay, thus making me an All-American. So I do have a personal story. Like I said, you heard it before, but I'm just gonna go through it. During my senior year in high school, I had major plans. I had numerous events to compete in at the state meet, but my main focus was the 400 meters. I was planning on being a state champion that year in that event, even though I knew my competitor, Carmelita Williams, was faster. That didn't matter. I was going to train hard so that I would cross the finish line first. That was my plan, but God had other plans. He allowed a tumor to be on my ovary. While at track practice, I was doing drills and I had to stop because I was unable to continue. Fanny noticed that I stopped and asked if I was okay. I told him what was wrong. He told me to have my mom take me to have it checked out. The report from the examination was that I needed surgery for a tumor that was the size of a volleyball. It was later diagnosed as ovarian cancer, and I needed to have chemotherapy. When I was first diagnosed, the first thing I thought about was track. Will I be able to compete, knowing that was my last year in high school? I had major plans. The doctor stated that the cancer cells were microscopic, so chemo was my choice. The church's prayer team prayed for my healing, but I still had a decision to make. Chemo or no chemo? Again, track was on my mind. Chemo, slow recovery. No chemo, quick recovery. Up until the day that I was scheduled to report for my treatment, I hadn't made a decision. I received a call asking for my decision, and I told them that I was declining the chemo. A few minutes after I hung up the phone, it rang. It was a church member who worked at the hospital. She asked me my reason for declining, and I told her that I believed that God was going to heal me. Her response was, "Tranquil, God works through doctors too." Wow, those were powerful words. They were enough to convince me to go through the chemo. I had an excellent doctor, Dr. Kirshner, who explained to me the side effects which I did experience: hair loss, weight loss, lack of appetite, and yes, I was extremely sick and weak. But thank God he worked through the doctors and the medicine, and I'm alive today to tell my story. And with only one ovary, I have a miracle child. Four lessons I learned from my cancer experience. Number one, trust God and never stop praying. And if it's His will, He'll make sure you overcome any obstacle. Number two, whatever you're doing, always do your best. My focus was track, and because I did my best each year I competed, I was recruited to compete at the University of Nebraska based on my junior year times in the 400 meters. Number three, never give up. As a freshman in college, I ran the same 400-meter times as I did my freshman year in high school. I continued working hard, and my sophomore year, I was a member of the national champion 4x4 relay team, which makes me an All-American. Number four, remember, with God, all things are possible. There are several people I'd like to thank. Thanks to the Hall of Fame committee for the nomination. Also, thanks to my parents, Noel and Lucinda Wilson, who could not be here today. I thank them for allowing me to compete and instilling in me the determination to do my best. In addition, they instilled God in me and showed me that with God, all things are possible. Thanks to Fanny, who served as a coach, father figure, and mentor. Thanks to the late Hecky Powell, who owned Hecky's Barbecue. He allowed me to work after practice. He was patient with me when I was tired and was active in my life all through high school and post-high school. I'd like to acknowledge my family and friends who are here today to support me. Also, the girls' track coaching staff. And last, but certainly not least, my beautiful and talented daughter, Abrielle. Thank you.
Congratulations again to Tranquil, and tremendous speech and a lot that we can learn and take away from that, that's for sure. As you might have seen, I handed Tranquil a plaque that she gets to keep, and all of you will receive a smaller individual plaque similar to the big ones that are here. The big plaques will be hung just outside of Beardsley Gym, although my goal and dream is to ultimately transport that to the new atrium that we built, which is a magnificent hall that everybody can see in a much brighter venue. So we'll see if we can get there. And the other new thing that we added, and you guys are the first class to receive these, is we have a commemorative coin with a wild kid on one side and an E on the other side. On the rim, it just says Athletic Hall of Fame. So that's your memento that you can keep with you anywhere you want. If you're a golfer, you can use it as a ball marker. But we want that to always be with you because we're so proud of you. Now we're going to continue to honor two more of our individual athletes before we move on to our teams. Jeff Moore, from the class of 1960, was an incredible swimmer. He is still alive and lives in California, but he just had surgery and is unable to make the trip. Jeff won the state championship in the 100-yard butterfly, setting a national record, and was the state runner-up in the 200 IM in 1960, helping the Kits win a state championship. He swam at the University of Michigan, earning third place in the 200-yard butterfly, and helped his team at Michigan to finish third and fourth place in the nation. We are honored to induct Jeff Moore into the ETHS Athletic Hall of Fame for the class of 2022. And our last, and certainly not least, inductee as an individual is Norton Evans, Evie Hellstrom, who graduated in 1917, so 105 years ago. He was a 12-time, and to our knowledge and our records, this has never been replicated again, 12-time ETHS varsity letter winner in the sports of football, basketball, and baseball. He led the Kits to national championships in basketball and suburban league championships in all three sports. He continued as a three-sports star at the University of Illinois. Again, this is college sports, three sports, where he was captain of the basketball team. We are honored to induct Evie Hellstrom into the ETHS Athletic Hall of Fame with the class of 2022. All right, finally we've come to the induction of our two great teams here with us tonight. Again, because of our unique situation, we've right now listened to 10 fewer speeches than we normally would have on a regular Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So we're going to try something that's a little bit different. I didn't necessarily prep you guys to this ahead of time because I didn't want 15 5 to 8 minute speeches either, right? So we're gonna see how this works today and maybe continue it in the future. But I'm gonna read a few of the highlights about each of our teams, and then I'm gonna ask all of the team members and coaches that are present today to come forward. You'll receive your individual plaques, your coin. We'll have you seated up here, and then we'll give you the opportunity to come up and say a few remarks about your experience on that team and thank any of the people that you want to thank for leading you to the success with that team that season. Sound like a plan? Beautiful. First off is our 1975 boys soccer team, led by head coach and Athletic Hall of Fame inductee Ken Mcgonagall. The 1975 boys soccer team only gave up 10 goals all season en route to a 16-2 record and the CSL South or CSL North Conference Championship. The Kits were so tough and so well respected, they finished as the #1 ranked team in the state by the Illinois High School Soccer Coaches Association, despite not making it to the state finals that year. Year in and year out, our boys soccer program to this day is consistently one of the top 3 or 4 programs at Evanston High School. And so it's really awesome to have the 1975 team join the 1965 team as only the second boys soccer team in school history to be inducted into the ETHS Athletic Hall of Fame with the class of 2022. Please come forward and accept your plaques and say a few words. You guys can kind of come and make a line here. You guys can, I'll hand you your plaque. So I believe you've all received your plaques and coins, and we're going to just kind of open up the mic. We're going to I've been asked to start with Josh to say a few words about, I believe it was his brother that was on the team. So Josh, come on forward and say a few words.
All right. I'll let you be first.
Okay. I'm Bruce Milligan. I was on the team, but I didn't. Whole long story there. This is Josh. He's John Rosenblum's brother.
Josh Rosenblum. I'm John Porter. I take over his place.
He'd like to give a toast to the soccer team, right, Josh?
Toast the soccer player and John Rosenblum, the best baseball player on earth.
Good job, Josh. Thank you very much.
Thank you much.
Hi, I'm only going to say a couple words, but the first two things that came to my mind when we were told that we had received this honor was that I really wish our parents had been here. And if you knew this team, then you would know how important that was, because this was long before thousands of parents, we have kids, we understand this, showed up with their lawn chairs to watch every single thing that they did. Our parents drove us to practices, games, James Park, the high school, just hanging out, just watching, just being friends. So I wanted to acknowledge, I don't think we would have been here without our parents, and I wanted to say thank you about that. The second thing has to do with Evanston Township in the 70s and probably before, and that is, I don't know how it works today here, but I know in most programs, the teams cut. It's incredibly competitive, and kids play in travel programs to try to make different athletic teams. But Evanston didn't cut for soccer. And so, over 100 kids came out as 14-year-olds, and I feel like that same 100 kids were still there at 18 as seniors. And so, what you had was not a group of starters and non-starters. What you had was a group of friends who had really, continued to hang together, whatever this is, 40 years later or something. And I think that's an incredible tribute to the school and to these guys here. So that's what I wanted to say about being here. The final thing was that I felt incredibly humble. I'm a big fan of Evanston Township. To have your name on a piece of paper that includes people like Joe Stewart and Nat Page and Finney, who you would not remember me, but I was a big fan of yours. Running track. You ran, I watched. There are so many great athletes. We were talking about Ozzie, Brian Rosinski at our table a little earlier. To simply be in that conversation is incredibly humbling. So I want to say thank you for that. So those are the words I wanted to share with you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alan Williams. It is humbling to be here in this crowd, and I feel like it's dubious for me. I'm the kid on crutches in the picture. I didn't get into a game that year. I didn't get into a game the year before. I was the manager of the team, but always a part of it, and what Nat just said was important. There were A-teamers and there were B-teamers and there were kids that never played, but at the end of the day, we're all making it into the Hall of Fame, which I think is pretty cool. I wanted to say something about Coach Mcgonagall, who's in the Hall of Fame, but he's not here today. When I had broken my leg playing soccer before my senior year, he came to see me in the hospital. Now, I wasn't going to get a whole lot of playing time, even if I didn't have a broken leg. But we talked about the team in that hospital room before the season began, And he had such high hopes for this team. He knew what kind of a group of athletes he had, and he was really licking his chops to get into that season. And it was a season not to be disappointed about. And I'll never forget what he said at the end of our season, which was a crushing, cold, wet, muddy day, and we'd lost a tough game. And as manager, I never had to get distracted with thinking about getting into the game or what I was going to do. I got to watch this whole thing, and I saw things that the rest of you guys didn't see. And it was very sad, but what he said in the bus before we got off was he said in all of his coaching experience, he'd never coached a team that was as talented as this one. Even though we weren't going downstate and we all thought we were going to, he gave us something really nice to think about. And so for all of us to be here, getting into this Hall of Fame really makes what he said important to me, at least. The only other thing I'd like to say is, boy, we miss Jonathan Higgins here today, because I don't think we'd be here without him pushing for this. A number of us were at his memorial service a few weeks ago, and I'd just like to say thank you, Jonathan. I think we're all very, very thankful for you. That's it.
Using my teacher wait time to make sure nobody else has anything to say. But we're going to take a group picture, and then we want to congratulate you again. Come together here. I'll have you guys stand up right here. No one's going to have to take a knee, but if the taller folks can stand in the back and the shorter folks in the front.
Hey Bruce, I'm sorry, that's it. I know.
Tell me you said it, boys. Cell phones are done now, and we'll go to the professional.
Right here. Ready? I'll take a couple here, okay? 1, 2, and the last one for everyone. Okay. Thank you.
Congratulations. What's that?
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because he's inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's how. Yeah. It was nice to meet you. Congratulations. Great speech.
Steve Fisher.
oh,
I didn't know that.
how you doing?
You didn't have your name down.
I'm John. How you been, Johnson? No, okay.
And our final inductee for today and our final team, the 1989 girls swimming and diving team. Sure, you guys can come on down now. Actually, yeah, that's fine. Come on down. It'll work. That's fine. If you guys can come around here. Yes.
We have enough chairs.
All right, coached by Tim Richardson, the Wildcats made history multiple times in 1989. They beat New Trier for the first time in school history. They won the first ever conference and sectional championships for girls swimming and diving in school history. And they won the only state trophy for girls swimming and diving in ETHS history still to this day, as the Kits finished third place at the IHSA state meet. We have inducted 4 boys swimming and diving teams to the Athletic Hall of Fame, so it is wonderful to be inducting our first ever girls swimming and diving team into the ETHS Athletic Hall of Fame on the 50th anniversary of Title IX. Congratulations to girls swimming and diving. At this time, I will leave the podium up to you ladies, and Coach, if you guys want to say a few words, please come on up and don't be shy.
Captains.
I really didn't know if this day would ever come. First of all, it kept getting delayed. Every time I see him at the mall, and oh, maybe, yeah, we're going to have it this time. Oh, you get a call later. No, we're not having it. Maybe at a later date. Okay, yeah, let me know. And then I get the last one. I go, yeah, sure, well, okay, we'll wait and see. Yeah, I know. But I'm telling you, it was worth waiting for. I know the standards of Evanston High School, and when I put together the biography of this team, I'm like, I didn't know if we'd fit the category, because generally everything, if you're not first at Evanston High School, it just doesn't fit real well. And I'm like, and I understood that. When I got the job here at Evanston High School in '87, and when I was younger, Evanston High School was one of 2 schools, to me, was the pinnacle of being a head coach at. And I looked at that and I go, oh my God, I got the opportunity. And when I came in here, and I actually watched the girls for about a week on the sidelines, and Chuck Fargo, who a lot of these girls swam for in the age group program, had known them for years, since they were this big, and they put up with all his digs and everything else for years, and continue to get it now. But when I walked in '87, these kids, I'm like, okay. They're like, all right, when are you going to finally get a takeover and do all this stuff? And I said, I'm kind of sitting in the wind a little bit. I want to see how things unfold. They were going, I learned last night, they were going through a lot more over those few years when I first came in that I didn't know about. And we had some great conversations last night, and we'll probably have some more this afternoon. But when I look across the board with these girls, we had the mishap in '88, which I try not to think about, because we set the table and had it all laid out. Everything was on the table perfectly, and then one little glitch in the system. But that didn't take away from the team we had. This team embraced it and said, we're going to be better. And that's exactly what they did from the first meet of this season. And I go back to when we swam against New Trier in that very first meet with them. And Jenny Verhoog, our backstroker, I kind of hit her out of it. I don't know if I gave her a reprimand for not being at practice during the preseason or something, but she was always off having a good time. And I probably don't want to know. Anyway, we got to the meet. We're all ready to go at our place, and I'm sitting at the table, and the medley relay wins the first event. The coach from New Trier jumps up. Who is this girl? Where did she come from? And everything else, because I don't even know if I think I just put her on the roster, not because she didn't have all the workouts in. And who is this person? And then we beat them, and it was like, that was step one. And then it unraveled the whole season as far as our dual meet records and stuff. We went against Oak Park, gave them a good run, which was a state champion team. And everything just kept dominoing, and everybody got up and tolerated my workouts somehow. And I was, to this day, what they endured day in and day out, and still came in with a smile and determined to get things done, really showed their character over and over and over again. They're so successful, every one of these girls, across the board, and I love every one of them, and it's so great to, and I said, I'm going to hang with the girls. I said, well, they're only 10 or 12 years younger than I am, but, but it is so exciting to be here, to get the opportunity to, and know Chris when he was in high school, here at the high school, among others, Finnegunster. I mean, him and I talked daily when we were down in the coach's office, constantly staying on top of things, what's going on, how your kid's doing, etc. And so it was so much fun, and then to meet and see all the people who have been inducted into the Hall of Fame. And every day I'd walk by the Beardsley Gym and see all these people that I'm like, God, I know that person, and boy, I wonder what that person was like. And then hearing the bios of the people who were just up here, I was like, oh my gosh. And then to be in that category and be part of the program, it was such a joy coaching each and every one of these girls, because they gave their heart and soul, and they give their heart and soul now in life. They live all over the country and in the world. So I want to thank Chris, the committee, Dave Petransky I've known for a long time, played a lot of golf together, and we just, you cherish this moment because you never know what's happening next. I really appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for having us all here today.
Tanya's got a few words.
I will say something. So we are just so proud to be here. ETHS is outstanding academically and in athletics, and to be here, it's just so much pride. Because we all know who has come out of this amazing school. I want to thank all of our coaches. Tim, thank you so much for guiding and leading us. Coach Fargo, Coach Blickenstaff, and Coach Stefano. We had practice in the morning and at night. We were with our coaches more than our parents during the week, and they guided us for all those years. And we really want to thank you for all that support and guidance. Because we were a little handful. We were very, very strong girls coming out of this new era of strong women. And all these women are doing amazing things. And I'm so proud to have been on the team with you. We were so close. We spent all that time together. And it was just so fun. And we built these relationships that, we just came back together after not being together for 30 years. And it's like, we haven't skipped a beat. So with that, I also want to thank Heidi Toft, who's not here, who is a coach of ETHS swim team. And she's coaching right now and couldn't be with us. So I want to say thank you to Heidi as well. So you guys want to say something?
No, I just want to say thank you to Tim. I don't think, well, I think I wasn't here last night, so I think there are stories being shared, but Tim came into, kind of I don't want to say a hot mess, but we had a lot going on in swimming. Some pretty tragic things had happened, either with the coaching staff that he had to inherit, but also just within our own, teammates in our swim team. And so not only was he coming in to coach us, but he was coming in to kind of right size us and provide that leadership. And when Finny Gunter got up and talked about, hey, this was new. These were programs that they were taking girls' sports to the next level that the boys' sports already were kind of at. I never had that appreciation of looking at it from a coach's point of view, coming in and saying, hey, we've got to level up these teams. So just a tremendous amount of appreciation, Tim, for everything that your leadership in general. The one thing I will say about the team is that, oh my God, we were competitive. I mean, if there wasn't we tasted blood in the water when, blood in the water. And I just remember thinking, we are coming after them with a vengeance, and, he was talking about the little glitch that happened the year before, 1988. So I was part of that. Jen was part of that. Tanya was part of that. They jumped in the water, just
that was
FYI.
Actually, my problem.
But it was because we were so excited. We had it in the bag. It was like the last, event, and we were all part of that. And so I think coming back from that in the next year and just saying, hey, we were gonna go after them with a vengeance and it was gonna be a team effort for everybody. Everybody brought their game, was just so exciting. So anyway, really proud to be a part of this.
Thank you, Seiko. Woo! Liz, Seiko, Liz. It's us. And Tanya, thank you so much. Tanya Burns, Bill Burns, everybody, the Burnses. So these are all swimmers who I'm referring to. And I just want to start off again by saying thank you to, I say Coach Richardson because I still see you as my coach. It's been it's too much for me. But also Chuck Fargo, Coach Fargo. So we are all, and Blickenstaff, Coach Blickenstaff, and Coach Stefano was there that year as well. So we did have 4 coaches on deck. It was at Hinsdale South, if I'm not mistaken. And I know my memory is a little bit, but I'm 50, so that's the way it goes. I swam the 50 too. So anyway, the most sort of significant part of this team are my teammates, and I want to say that we rallied every meet. We were completely, it's like inspirational to look at your faces today and to understand who you are and why you're here. And we've gone through a lot. We have, all of us, gone through a lot. And just to reiterate, we were in the 80s. Okay, so in the 80s, it was Reagan. It was kind of the me generation. And this was kind of an era when it was very much about individualism, to be honest with you. Like historically, if you look in the records, if you look in your historical records, your resources, I'm the one who, I won't talk about it. So anyway, the longest point that I'm trying to make, or the shortest point that I'm trying to make, is that we were a team. We were not really reflective of that individualism. We kind of reflected both, because in swimming, I think we are actually more of like an individual sport where you're actually relating to your teammates all the time, but when you're in your lane, you're in your lane. And so there is that individual thing of Americanism, or whatever you want to call it, but there's also, a very undeniable connectedness and connectivity. It's like electric. So there really is something quite amazing about, yeah, so we're an inspired team. That's my story.
I should probably not be the one up here talking, but I am. I'm up here. So this is definitely a very big family, and I have to say one thing about this. We have awesome coaches. We also had tremendous depth on our team, so really, Coach, maybe we did you a solid, because you could put us anywhere and we would still come through and, you know, pull through. So, but really, honestly, great team, so proud to be a part of this, and just want to say that, and I'm hopefully not going to get emotional, I'm gonna try not to, but we're missing one person. So, anyway, tremendous athlete, and we miss her very much, so we wish Jenny was here. So, I am going to put this new challenge coin to the test at every bar, and I'm gonna see if I get free drinks, because I figure like that will work if you put it up. Yeah, I'm a Hall of Famer, boom, boom, free drinks. And so I'm definitely going to toast one to my buddy Jenny Cook tonight.
Hi, I'm Lauren. This is Debbie. Deb now. She was Debbie in high school. It's throwing me off. We were the divers. You're welcome. No, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much. Chris, thank you. Richardson, thank you. Last night was a time warp. I mean, I look around and everybody's the same, which I love so much. And I was the freshman on this amazing group of women who you guys were my role models. And like Tranquil said, we had some unbelievable successes in high school. I did it in college. I know a lot of you guys did as well. But what resonates with me is the journey with all of you and what I learned and how to persevere. And to this day, these are life lessons that I'm teaching my kids, because we looked great and we were fast and we were good divers and everything else, but it was the journey that was the most rewarding. And thank you guys so much. And to our parents, I know the soccer guys, I am now a swim parent, and there is no one on this planet more crazy than a swim parent. Because you sit there for 5 hours and you watch your precious angel swim for 30 seconds. So kudos to our parents, and thank you guys very much. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm Deb, and Lauren and I are representing the divers, and just want to give a shout out to Mr. Blick and Defano. And I have to be honest, when we got the email about this, I thought it was a joke. I was like, I'm what? Like, we're what? Like, it wasn't, and it's such an honor, and I've been, being back at ETHS is crazy. Being back with everyone is amazing. And I've really taken some time to think about what this means, not just for us, but really hearing what Chris said about women's athletics starting in the 1970s, that there were even programs available for girls to be fucking badasses. Sorry about that. Do you know what I mean? And here we are, and hearing what we did as a team, and that it was kind of new at that era. And I just want to say, I feel so grateful to have grown up in Evanston and to have grown up, you know, in a generation where I was never told as a girl that your dreams are not possible. I was never told that you can't do that because you're a girl. And we were always encouraged and to follow our dreams. And we were talking about this last night, that it's like we all came together to do this because we loved it. It was fun. And we pushed ourselves and we loved it. But never in a million years did I, or probably anyone, fast forward 30 years to know the impact of us just showing up, coming together, doing the work, pushing through limits. Never in a million years did I realize the impact that that could have, and the example that we could set just by being us and taking a stand for girls, the power of, you know, girls and women having control and power over their bodies, over their choices. And I've been really thinking a lot about like what all of the inductees and Chris and everyone have been talking about everything else we get from sports other than just the physical sports. And I am here to attest that swimmers and the swim team are crazy. In the best way. And no, it was such a huge impact in my life. I came on as a junior to the diving team. I was a gymnast, and I was a gymnast since I was little, and very, very competitive. I was a gymnast, I was a soccer player, and when I joined the swimming and diving team as a junior, kind of coming late to the game, I was so welcomed in, and we were so supported as divers. The swim team really welcomed us. We felt so part of the family, and in the best crazy togetherness kind of a way.
We almost killed them jumping on them.
But that was on purpose. And I just remember for me, like it was a big feat to have to go in on your head, because I was a gymnast and I'm trained to like go in on your feet and things like that. But what I want, the times we had together at Evanston High School, and just with this amazing team and with all the teams, I realize has really given me the foundation to what I built the rest of my life on. The teamwork, the pushing past limits, not just the movement mastery and the drive and the technique. Marnie and I was talking about the technique of her stroke, and not just like our individual accomplishments or the physical accomplishments and awards we won or our state, but how it shaped our minds and what it gave us to, what it gave me to push past limits, go from I can't to yes I can, to dig deep and go that extra mile, to wake up at 5:30 in the morning, to get to the pool by 6, to do morning practice, then go to school, then to go to afternoon practice, the camaraderie, the team, the being a part of the team, the being a part of something bigger than myself and contributing in this way. And I'm just very proud to be here, a part of this amazing crew, and also just being here in this room, meeting all of you, and just really presencing for myself kind of the first time, oh, we're a part of a lineage, and what we've all accomplished in this room together is going to affect generations and generations, 7 generations forwards. And if we can somehow be here as women athletes, as you know, taking a stand for what's possible for girls, with sports and with athletics, and hearing Tranquil's story, just with all of the awesomeness that everyone's created, that's something I feel really proud to be a part of, and just to know that we did something positive that new people in this high school can come in and look at and go, that has never been done before. Those women did it. That means I can do it too. And so I know I'm getting all like philosophical about this, but it's a big honor. One more thing I really want to say, I know I'm being long-winded, is being a part of this team and diving is the reason that kind of perpetuated the rest of my life, because getting recruited and then diving 4 years in college, Division I at Princeton, I don't even know if I would have gotten in without this, you know. And so it's just an amazing moment to think back at like what we've all created back then and how it's now shaped our individual choices moving forward. And we really owe it all to the coaches and the captains, and it's, yeah, that's it.
All right, congratulations again to our 1989 girls swimming and diving team. If we can have you guys all stand up for a nice photo. Taller in the back.
I guess I'll go back there.
I'm back here. I'm scooching in back. Oh yeah, I got moved in the back, sorry. Okay, you're good.
Get back here.
I'm the same. Always here, right in the middle.
We're gonna have one more with our pro. Stuart Robbins right here. Right here. And popped up. All right. Thank you. Congratulations.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. Is this it? Yeah. Guys, we gotta just wrap up. You guys wanna take a seat?
Yeah, I'll take this. Where do we put this?
Someone forgot their plaques. Well, I'll announce it. It's all right.
Thank you. Trying to take my plaque. I forgot to mention your name.
Who's
Well,
that?
I forgot you.
Oh.
You, Chris.
All right, we're good. I just want to wrap up.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. All right. I want to just close up here by saying a few words. It's taken a long time for us to get here tonight. We had to reschedule once. We had to reschedule twice. We finally settled on today's date. And, you know, it's been a few years. And I really appreciate the patience that all of you showed as this process went on. And I hope tonight was worth it. I hope you guys had an opportunity to really enjoy and appreciate what this legacy means. And we are, once again, honored to have you in our Hall of Fame. And the big plaques that you guys saw there, again, will go in the hallway right outside of Beardsley Gym. And you, as many people pointed out, will be legacies to all the future Wildcats here for many, 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 many years to come. So we appreciate you guys being with us today. If anybody would like to stick around for another 5-10 minutes and take a quick tour of the place, I will just pack up a few things and I'll be ready to roll in about 5 minutes. So I'm happy to guide you around the school. Thank you one last time for being here. Congratulations and go Kits!